Well, Drew, I know you were not happy after the last one. Were you able to move past that at all?
Man, we're starting off with that question. All right.
Start with the past. Let's start with the past, and then we get to the good stuff. You know?
Yeah, man.
Did you work past it, or it still burn a little bit?
Man, it's super unfortunate. Well, just because like out of 70 career fights, that's only happened to me twice, you know, and so like it was like the first time in a long time that's happened to me, and yeah, it still hurts, right? It's unfortunate, but you know, you just move on from it.
That's it. Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, like, it's this game sometimes, right? Like, it's weird. Like, you wonder, are there lessons you can take out of it, or you just go, well, you go into a firefight, sometimes you get clipped, and that's all you can take out of it. I mean, can you say that, or do you have to say, like, no, we've got to fix something. We got to change something.
I mean, you definitely got to fix something. So we had to like, you know, look at that loss and like what caused it. But I think my big thing is like it doesn't represent you as a fighter. Junior Hernandez knocked me out like 10 years ago, and any of you guys know that name? No, it doesn't matter. Adriano Martin knocked out Islam Makhachev. Where is he at? So it's like one knockout doesn't represent your legacy. You know, it's not what you do once, it's what you do often. And I'm here to prove Saturday night that we're still in it.
That's awesome, man. That's a great way to look at it. Ricky himself, what do you think of him as an opponent? What he presents to you, a veteran of the game for sure.
Man, jack of all trades. He's super tough. Not as active as any like other fighters. So like I don't know what he's gonna bring to the table. So fighting the Apex, fighting Ricky Glenn, it reminds me of being a regional professional again, or an amateur, to where you really didn't know much about your opponent. You just showed up and you had to figure it out then. And so we're back to the proving grounds. I lost my last fight. Unfortunate. We got to prove it, you know, who I am to everyone else again. And that's what fighting Ricky Glenn means to me.
Do you like that? Do you like that approach? Do you like the idea of maybe not being hyper focused on knowing every move and every pattern that they have? Do you enjoy that more, or is it more of a challenge?
I thrive in the chaos, and Ricky's bringing it. So yeah, I'm ready, prepared, polished, and sharpened to be ready for anything he brings to the cage.
That's awesome. And you know what a run you were on and all the discussions that were being had. You win this, you get that momentum right back. Do you start talking about rankings, matchups, you know, what it is, or do you kind of wait a little bit to get back into that mindset?
Man, we tried to play the whole, like, let's see what kind of big fighters we can get. And, you know, like, I'm not really into that. I'm into just staying active, being busy. Father Time's coming for us all. And, you know, I want to have more fights in the cage than one great opportunity. So, yeah, so after this fight, great. Like, if I get a top 10, top 5 main event, co-main event, like, that would be fantastic. But what matters to me is being able to step into that cage and being in front of you guys as often as possible until I got to hang it up.
That's awesome, man. Last thing for me, I guess, is there a perfect scenario here? Obviously a victory, but is there a certain way? Is it like I gotta go make a statement? Is like I kind of want to get in a firefight just to prove that you know, I can do that? Like, what's perfection for you here?
Perfection to me is being able to bring in that old Drew Dober that brought me to the knockout streak, right? We kind of left it behind in the last fight against Matt Frivola, and so I felt like I just handed it to him, right? I started believing you guys that I got a left hand and a granite chin, that's all I need, you know? And that's not what brought me to that, right? I was doing so many things before that we kind of just left behind. So a perfect night for me is bringing back that.
Hey, Drew.
Yes, sir.
How's dad life?
Oh man, it's fulfilling, exhausting, all at the same time. But man, what a different kind of motivation that is. You know, it's man, it's not an easy answer, as all dads know, right? It's work, but it's probably the best work you'll ever do. And in combination to fighting, it's just such a beautiful balance that now fighting is just so much exciting with her, you know?
Obviously, there's so much that goes into fighting, right? The training, the dieting, the everything. So how do you balance having a newborn, being a dad, training? Like, how did you find that balance, and like, what is your balance?
She was able to slow me down. I have a nasty habit of just overdoing things and just, you know, being in the gym too often, this and that, and now I can't be. She requests my presence more often than, you know, I have time for. And so now I'm not in the gym. I'm not doing, like, I'm not overtrained. And so it's balance. It's she was able to pull me back, and now I have quality work instead of just quantity work.
Is Daddy Dober a mythical fighter?
I mean, we're about to find out Saturday night. You watch it.
And finally, what video games you playing?
Man, Starfield just came out, and man, what a beautiful game that is. And I had no idea that it was actually coming out until I rolled up on Steam, and it was just #1. I was like, oh, so yeah, we've been neck deep in Starfield. Well, as much as I can when the baby goes to bed.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Over here. A while ago, you put your name in the hat for a potential fight with Michael Chandler. I mean, obviously, the stuff with McGregor's there. Whether it ends up happening or not, are you still interested in a potential Chandler fight one day?
Oh, he's definitely waiting for Conor. I'm still unsure if Conor's going to ever show up. But, I mean, if he wants a 5'9" southpaw to get him warmed up for that fight, I'm absolutely available. And he just got to let me know when he wants to do it. He said he's 190 pounds right now. I can fight him at 170. But, yeah, I mean, I'm here for the excitement, and he brings it as well.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a very exciting one for the fans to see.
Yeah. We got to convince him of it because I can't hold in the red penny night like Conor can. So.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Who do you got in the main event?
Man, I like both those guys. They're great. So like I love both those guys on a personal level. So this has to be a very like analytical answer. And I think Grant Dawson's wrestling is going to get him the victory. I don't know it's going to be the most exciting fight, but I think Grant Dawson's wrestling is going to showcase.
And then just the rematch between Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira. Do you see it going any different, or are we going to kind of see the same fight?
It will be different. But I think the result will stay the same. I feel like Charles is going to make the fight even like tougher this time around. But I think Islam's going to be able to get that victory either in the later rounds or by decision.
Actually, I had one more, actually. In July, your fellow Omaha, Nebraskan Terrence Crawford made history by beating Errol Spence. I just want to see your take on that.
I mean, there's something in the water in Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, toss on Google how many fighters in the UFC, how many combative athletes are the best in the world from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, there's something in the water, and I'm showing it. Anthony Smith is showing it. We got Grant Dawson from Omaha tonight, or Saturday night main event. Terrence Crawford is just also showing it that when you come from a small town like Omaha, you can fight pretty well.
And you've seen him a couple of times. How's your guys' relationship?
Oh yeah, no, we get along great. I had the wonderful opportunity to spar Terrence Crawford, and he showed me that it's apples and oranges. This game, boxing is on a different level, and one of the worst sparring sessions of my life. But yeah, dude, he is super talented, and yeah, I want to see him fight Canelo.
Given that sparring experience with Terrence Crawford, I mean, we've seen some of these MMA guys hang up their MMA gloves and do some fun boxing fights. Is that something you'd like to do one day?
Yeah, the celebrity boxing would be great. Just get paid to kind of, rough house in boxing with some other MMA guys. But to make an actual strategical run in boxing would be almost impossible. Like, I spent a lot of my time learning grappling, wrestling, kicking, and they just got to focus on two hands. And the sport is different. Politics and the rule set. So, yeah, I would love to do some celebrity boxing. If Jake Paul wants to do it, we could do it with him too. But, yeah, so, yeah, I would love to.
Thank you.
Drew, just wanted to point out how great your analysis was, because when we were talking to Bobby, he said he would have to make a boring fight exciting. So you guys are pretty much just aligned as far as, like, I'm sure he's aware of the grappling heavy wrestle style that Grant will need to take in order to, not get into a Drew Dober fight.
Right. I mean, Bobby's the entertainer. I mean, that's why he's the main event and I'm the second fight on the main card, right? Like, he's loud. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think now we had a transition. We no longer care about the toughest fighter in the room, right? We just want to see the loudest people in the room fight. And Bobby's loud on top of being talented. He's just loud. And so that's what got him that opportunity. And so he knows he's the entertainer in this fight, and that's why he has that opportunity. He pretty much skipped over me and went to a main event. And then Grant Dawson knows that he's just a strong wrestler, and yeah. So I don't know if it's like an insight. I think it's just very obvious. We got Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. We know who the entertainer is.
And last for me, thank you for sharing that with us. That you've been in how many battles and wars, and no guy can slow down your pace, but your daughter was able to finally get you to okay, pump the brakes. We need you to have some longevity in the sport. So I don't think that happened like, coincidentally, that this might actually have given you some more life to put on better performances, more exciting performances, or just not that wear and tear that fighters go through that we don't see because we don't see your training camps and what you guys put yourselves through.
Yeah, I mean, definitely added a lot of perspective. Definitely slowed me down.
In a good
Also, yeah, in a great way. Such a beautiful way. But yeah, I'm still eager to find out kind of what Daddy Dober is gonna bring, right? And we got this fight on Saturday, and so I'm like right there with you guys. Like I'm excited to see how it's gonna come to fruition, and fights following. I can't say that I know now with a daughter how it's going to play out because we've seen fighters have children and it just didn't work out for them, and so I got to be able to use this in a positive way, and as of now it's been extremely positive. And yeah, longevity, I also think I age pretty well. I look a lot better at 34 than I did at 24. I don't know if you have seen that, but that's pretty bad. So I mean, I think I can go on and be like a Stephen Thompson and try to do this at 42. Who knows though.
Sounds good, man. Good luck to Daddy Dober on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.